Okay, let's make some California crumpers. 2 cups of bread flour, 2 ounces of butter, 2 ounces of lard, and that water needs to be chilling in the fridge right now. So anyway, those are the ingredients for the pastry. So I should just say that the Cornish pasty enjoys a European Union protected geographical indication status, meaning they can only be made in Cornwall, and only pasties meeting the registered specification will be able to carry the name Cornish pasty. They actually have a Cornish Pasty Association. They formed that in 2002, a group of about 40 pasty makers based in Cornwall, and at the time they came up with a very rigid specification, which will be taken over by the UK from the European Union when they finished all this Brexit stuff. So the California crumper is a very close relative to the Cornish pasty. I'll explain as we go. First, let's get this short crust pastry put together. I'm going to use a combination of bashing it up in the bowl until the fat is fully incorporated with the flour. It's going to take a while actually, but it's worth doing. It makes everything so much easier if you've got a nice, rough, tough, reasonably flexible pastry to work with. So there it is in breadcrumb type mode. You want to break it up as much as you can, and we can start to introduce that water, which now has been chilling in the fridge for a while. Alright, let's start incorporating this pastry. I already read you the weather, but we're going to be extremely careful with the amount of water we use. We start out with 2/3 of a cup, and I want to get it so it's just starting to hang together, and then we're going to finish it off in the bread machine using the first 7 minutes of the dough program. And you want to be mixing up this pastry until it's just starting to come together. You see there, got about a little bit of the water left. So as soon as you see it starting to stick like that, there we go. It's ready for further kneading, and we just got that little bit of water left. So let's go to the bread machine, and this is set to the dough recipe on my Breadman. That's program 7. Your mileage may vary. And we're going to just do the kneading of the dough with that. It's going to be kneading. So that's the first 7 minutes of the program that does what otherwise I would have to do by hand. Cleaning out the bowl, I guess. Yep, there we go. Okay, let's get all that flour in. And off we go with program 7, just to start that. And you can probably see there that it's clearly a little bit too dry. So we're going to add the water like a half teaspoon at a time, very carefully. dough ball is starting to form. Just another half teaspoon. That's going to be looking good. So we'll let the bread maker do its magic, and then we're going to test. Okay, so that's the resting period. So we can turn the program off and just inspect the dough. We want it sticky and stretchy, and that's just on the point of being stretchy enough. So that's looking good. Now we're going to run the first 7 minutes of the program again, and that will complete the kneading. Kneading is done. Never really figured out how to use the built-in cut-off mechanism. That's messy enough. Alright, let's go get that dough. Wrap it in the plastic, and that's going to chill for at least 30 minutes, but you can leave it overnight. Now we're going to make the filling. This is a sirloin steak, onion, 2 types of potato, and carrots. Now if it was a genuine Cornish pasty, it'd contain chunks of beef, potato, onion and swede, or if you're in Cornwall, turnip, or if you're in California, a rutabaga. But we use the 2 types of potato, the onion, waxy yellow potatoes, russet potatoes, a few carrots, and the meat, all chopped up into cubes around 1/4 of an inch. The carrots are a sort of a tip of the hat to the Cornish pasty makers. It's an inside joke. So let's get our 4 spices: a tablespoon of black pepper, a tablespoon of white pepper. I'll start that again. A teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of white pepper, a teaspoon of basil, and a teaspoon of oregano. Plus, once you've got them all pretty much covered, the meat, you add a tablespoon of red wine. Now, one of the things about the California crumper, or indeed a Cornish pasty if you happen to be making one of those, is that the meat has to have a bit of a pop. You need it more strongly spiced than you would think. But it should only be done to the meat. That's why I don't pre-mix the filling. There goes the wine. And let's mix that up, and we'll pretty soon be ready to start making pasties. There we go. All set up and ready to fill. You can see there how small the little chunks of the meat are. 1/4 inch is ideal, a little bit larger, no problem. So let's get the brand new pastry sheet and brand new rolling pin. Amazon literally just dropped them off so I could make this video. Divide that chilled dough into 4. Now I'm using a rolling pin I ordered. Yeah, and you can put those other 3 lumps back in the fridge actually, and they can wait their turn. And I'm going to make these pasties one at a time. So you want to make a round ball, out of the pastry. And I'm using a special rolling pin which has 1/8 inch flanges on the end, so the pastry is going to be exactly 1/8 thick, and that's going to be consistent, and that's another one of the magic secrets to making a great California crumper. Press that down, and then we're just going to roll it out to approximately circular, using the rolling sheet as a guide. Brand new rolling pin, I have washed it, but it's going to go through a break-in period, obviously. Let's see if we can get it to perform a bit better. And you'll find that if you roll it out to exactly 1/8 of an inch thick, each one of those quarters will roll out into something approximately circular with a diameter of about 8 inches, which is perfect for both a Cornish pasty and a California crumper. See those flanges on the ends of the rolling pin, just keeping it 1/8 of an inch exactly off the surface there, and that's perfect. Just ease it out to the 8 inch diameter. Make it roughly round. And that pastry is 1/8 of an inch thick, and it's easy to handle. I'm still going to use the pin to transfer it. Alright, let's assemble a pasty. Now there's a bit of a contention about the way pastries are made, and in this video we're going to be doing over the top crimping, which is the traditional way. Certainly as a kid, whenever I went to get a Cornish pasty, I would never see a side crimp. It was always over the top. Grandma did the same. So let's make our egg glaze here. Tablespoon of water, well, a bottle lid full, which is about a tablespoon. Just make our... This is going to serve two purposes. The first one is just to glue the edges together. A lot of people say that the side crimp is the traditional way of making Cornish pasty, but actually it isn't. And they said that the miners used to hold the crimp in their hands to avoid getting arsenic, to avoid eating arsenic, and then they would throw the crust away afterwards. And I don't think any of that is really anything more than marketing department, to be honest. I think the side crimp is easier to make, it's easier to bake, and it's easier to transport the pasties, and I think that's what they designed it for. But I don't get that throwing away the crust bit. I wouldn't throw it away. I'd eat it. Anyway, and there goes the token carrot. And we want to cram this real full as much as we can, putting everything in the middle, trying to get the proportions equal. Maybe a little bit more onion than the potato, but anyway. And then we'll start getting our meat filling in. And the meat is good for shoving into the corners because it's more flexible than the vegetables, and you don't get bumpiness. You'll still get bumpiness. Alright, now we're going to shape the pastry. Pick it up to the sides and give it a little bounce and then crimp all the way down one side, stuffing in the filling as best you can. That's one side. Some people lift it up at this point. I haven't got the guts to do that, so I do the other half on the table. I suppose if you were making them all day, you'd lift it up. And there goes our wonderful over-the-top crimp, straight down the middle. Couple of holes in the top. Release any steam by baking. Some people put clotted cream or a little slice of butter in them. I prefer to run them a bit dry. So there we've got 4, made with varying degrees of culinary success. And let's just glaze them up, get a nice colour. And then these are going to go into the oven for 50 minutes at 375 Fahrenheit. You do need that baking paper on the baking tray, by the way, otherwise they stick terribly. I found no other way other than using the paper. Alright, they're cooking, and there they are. Enjoy.